The gold price and the silver price could be in for a wild ride. We may have to wait a month or two or possibly 3, but when this happens, the price of silver and gold in real terms could go to the moon. And what about this job market? Remember, the job market is supposedly strong. We know that it's like the last strong leg of a 3-legged stool. It's what the Fed has been leaning on for the last several years as their foundation from which they could launch this aggressive monetary policy, which has been a major downward force on the price of the precious metals. That is a fact. Another fact is that if we look under the hood at the job market, do we discover something quite different? Look, we know one thing for sure. They've revised the numbers for 10 out of the last 12 months. That means they report one number and then silently and quite sneakily in the subsequent months, they go back and revise the numbers down, down, down. If you analyze what's gone on in the job market in the last year here in the United States, it's not such a pretty picture. Mostly part-time jobs are what have been created, right? People leave or get fired from their full-time job and get 2 or 3 part-time jobs, maybe driving a car for Uber or delivering Burger King for Dine Dash or whatever the heck it's called. That's what's going on in the economy right now. Fortuna Silver Mines is a global intermediate gold and silver producer. Since 2005, Fortuna's best-in-class management has delivered impressive growth and profits. Fortuna's solid financial position and operational expertise allows for performance in any precious metals price cycle and provides a foundation from which to harvest great profits in more favorable metals markets. Investing in Fortuna is an investment in quality, long-term, sustainable production of in-demand precious and base metals. A lot of government jobs being created, but remember, guys, that's the one strong leg of the stool that they've been using as the foundation from which to knock the silver and gold price down. But there's something even bigger afoot, something that could result in major price increases for the value of your silver and gold. And that's when the Fed actually does cut interest rates. When that happens, likely in March, right now they're saying we have a 78% chance of an interest rate cut in March. They'll be cutting interest rates in an environment where we likely still have inflation, which by most measures is still high. By any real measure, if you look at the real inflation rate, measured like they did back in the 70s or 80s, inflation is still very high. And if they cut rates in an environment where we already have high inflation and a number of other national and worldwide geopolitical factors that could force the price of silver and gold up, things like higher oil prices. I got news for you. The Federal Reserve can't control the oil price. The Federal Reserve in the United States are finding themselves increasingly in a more precarious financial situation and learning that most of the rest of the world isn't so willing to go along with whatever the United States dictates. It's a setup for hyperinflation. We haven't heard that word a lot lately, but it's a realistic possibility that we have, if not hyperinflation, severely higher inflation. And that will be a major catalyst for the silver price and the gold price as we move through 2024. I could be dead wrong, but what I see is another big spike in inflation. Honestly, I didn't see that 3 months ago. Do you see it? Does it make sense to you? You can leave a comment in the comment section below, right? Thank you for joining us here in the basement. By the way, you are the most important part of Ron's Basement. It's a big deal you're here. Please give this video a thumbs up. It looks like my ugly thumb. Little icon you press, and subscribing is always free. We'd love to have you come back and join us here in the basement. And when we look at jobs, let's just run through what we know is going on out there right now. We know Citigroup, with over 200,000 employees, is going to be laying off somewhere between 20,000, maybe even 23 or 24,000 people in 2024. Those are good paying jobs with great benefits. A lot of the people that work at Citigroup are going to have a hard time finding equivalent employment. What other big companies? We've heard about Google laying people off, Amazon laying people off, the NFL, the National Football League, laying people off, BlackRock, Nike, Twitch, the list goes on and on. These are high-paying jobs with good benefits, and our heart goes out to those that may be losing their jobs because they are going to have a hard time finding something that matches what they were used to, especially if they've been working at one of these big tech companies where they cater lunch every day and have nap rooms and everything else under the sun. And there's one more little thing we need to talk about that could be happening in March that could send shockwaves throughout the financial world. First, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Pimbex, Pimbex. Did you know they are an online bullion dealer? If you want to buy gold, silver, platinum, and you want to get it delivered direct to your door, check out Pimbex. What you'll find is they have ultra competitive prices, great service, and if you dig in and read what people say about Pimbex, you'll learn that they're a company you can trust. I use Pimbex when I buy silver. I think if you check it out, throw it into the mix next time you're shopping around for silver, gold, platinum, you'll learn what I learned. They check all the boxes. Thank you, Pimbex, for sponsoring Ron's Basement. Now, what else could happen in March that nobody's really talking about? A few of us are talking about it. We're going to talk about it right now. The Federal Reserve put in place a bailout program last year, March, April, when we had this massive banking problem in the United States. It's called the Bank Term Funding Program. And Mr. Barr, who works for the Federal Reserve, made a big announcement this week that they intend on terminating that program. It was for just 1 year. Everybody thinks it would be extended. More and more banks are turning to this program. It's a bailout in simple terms. It allows banks to get loans against what are some real cruddy investments that they made with your money, right? And it helps the banks remain solvent. We could be moving into a very interesting couple of months for the banking sector alone. That coupled with the Fed cutting rates, an inflation boom, everything spells a conducive environment for much, much higher silver prices and gold prices. You know one thing for sure. It's going to be a choppy ride, stormy weather. Look, one great thing about us basement dwellers that have been in the silver and gold market for a while, we've been toughened up. We've already been run through the mill. We know that what we hold is value. We hold silver, we hold gold because of properties that it's had for thousands and thousands of years. We'll just take it one day at a time, but I hope you come back tomorrow. I'll look forward to seeing you soon.